What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm not normally one to care about what happens at the Game Awards. It really doesn't concern me. Don't really care who wins Game of the Year. But this year, oh boy, was there some sweet, sweet drama. I love when there's infighting in the gaming industry just because you just see how butthurt people get so easily. And that's what happened during the Game Awards on Thursday. An actor, Christopher Judge, that appeared in the God of War series, got on stage and he said, "My speech last year was longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign." Very clearly a hyperbolic joke. Nothing about that is true. Like, of course, yes, the Modern Warfare 3 campaign is short, but all it is doing is poking fun at the length of the campaign. It was not meant to be taken seriously. It was not meant to be a slight. It's a joke. But, of course, there had to be people that got all up in arms about this joke, and it's specifically Call of Duty developers. The first comment here says, in quotations, funny. But yeah, the metrics that COD absolutely destroys all of the God of War games, probably combined to be honest, is equally laughable, if not more. Okay. What are you trying to equate? That Call of Duty and God of War are similar games in any way, shape, or form? It's like you're trying to compare apples to cucumbers or cucumbers to a chicken breast. Like, it's not the same world, man. Like, one is a massive multiplayer platform like Call of Duty that has a massive name recognition. The other is a single player console exclusive game. Like, we're talking about a multi-platform multiplayer experience with millions of players every single day versus a console exclusive game that only players who have a PlayStation 4 or 5 can play. Is that really the argument? Do you think that's a good argument? No, it's complete nonsense. But of course, someone's ego was hurt. Someone's fifis were hurt. And they had to come out with this statement. Come on, man. Like, do better. Okay? You do not deserve to have that kind of ego. More on that in a second. The next comment says, imagine having short user engagement once your game is consumed. Can't relate. Hashtag Game Awards. This came from a Call of Duty developer talking about user engagement. Remember Modern Warfare 2's user engagement? Yeah, that's right. People consumed your game and threw it away. Again, comparing a multiplayer experience to a single player experience. Do these guys have brains? I don't really know. If they do, they're probably smooth. The idea that you can compare a single player experience to a multiplayer experience is laughable. But even let's say they're just trying to compare campaign to campaign. There's much more replay value in a God of War campaign than a Call of Duty one. That's why there's things like New Game Plus. You don't have that in a Call of Duty campaign. By no means do you have that in a Call of Duty campaign. So what are you getting butthurt about? There's going to be way more user engagement by somebody that is trying to complete the campaign for a game like God of War than somebody who's trying to complete the 3-hour Modern Warfare 3 campaign. Like, let's get real here. Like, you can play 3 hours of God of War and play like 5% of the campaign. You can't do that with Modern Warfare 3. Oops, you beat the whole game already. Like, what are you trying to do? And then if you want to remove the campaign requirement, you're comparing a multiplayer game to a single player game. The lack of logic shows you why Call of Duty is where it is right now, because their developers legitimately do not have a brain cell. Like, the fact that they were able to type is shocking. The last one here, and honestly is probably the fairest one of them all, says, honestly, as COD developers, we've heard way worse, but we don't expect it from up here, at an event that is supposed to celebrate this year's achievements in gaming, especially with all of the information that was leaked about its development. Fair. You feel as if it is a bad timing for a joke. That's fair. Maybe the timing is bad. At the end of the day, though, it's a joke. It's not meant to harm anyone or hurt anyone. But the prior two tweets that we looked at are people getting butthurt about a clear joke. This person's at least looking at it logically. And honestly, yeah, Sledgehammer Games is taking a lot of crap for something that isn't their fault. It is very clear that this game was developed under very harsh circumstances by Activision. Activision are the ones to blame here. If you should get butthurt at anyone, you should get butthurt at Activision, not at Christopher Judge making a quick little joke about it. It's not Sledgehammer Games' fault. It's not Christopher Judge's fault. It's Activision's fault. Activision is the one that put the 16-month timeline on Sledgehammer Games. They're the one that forced this company to follow the guidelines and the creative direction of Modern Warfare 2. They didn't allow Sledgehammer Games to get as creative as they probably would have wanted to, because Activision had a mandate they had to fulfill. They needed to make sure they released a new Call of Duty. They had to ensure that they fed the Activision machine. So as Call of Duty developers, all you're doing is servicing Activision. You're not servicing your community. You're not developing games for your community. You're developing games for shareholders. Whereas people who work on God of War, they're making games for their community. They're a little bit more invested in the overall experience. So again, trying to compare Call of Duty to God of War is an awful comparison. And the fact that your first reaction was to boast about metrics on an online multiplayer game has such look at my bank account, it's larger than yours energy that it's laughable. Like, your tweet is almost funnier than the original comment because your tweet comes from such a place of jealousy. It's almost like you're locked in to being a Call of Duty developer and you want out so badly, but you can't. So you have to service the shareholders as much as possible because you became a video game developer to work on creative projects that you were proud of. But now you're stuck getting that paycheck from Activision and you're stuck making lackluster game after lackluster game. Now, maybe I'm reading into this too much, and honestly, probably am. But the fact that you got so butthurt and the fact that it felt as if your ego was personally attacked on this, it is just so funny to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Call of Duty should be better. Maybe it's because Call of Duty should try to become trendsetters again instead of following what Fortnite does. What, are we going to get Call of Duty Lego soon? Is that the next step? Are they going to create a multiplayer playlist for Lego characters? They're already trying so hard to be Fortnite, it's laughable. And you want to pretend as if God of War doesn't set trends? That they push the boundaries, they're a little bit more creative. They're also more innovative than Call of Duty's been in the last 5 years. I guess the only comparison we can make is that God of War also did a reboot right around 2018, 2019. Except they decided to live up to the expectations of the community. They decided to do justice to the originals, something that Call of Duty refuses to do. It still pisses me off to no end that Call of Duty decided to just reboot the original Modern Warfare trilogy and do it such a disservice. Simple as that. But that's all that I have to say today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this down below. Did the Call of Duty developers overreact, or do you think their comments were justified? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in that comment section. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.